This is Simone, and in this video, I wanted to talk about my biggest tips for learning Japanese as a beginner. After sharing my experience living as an exchange student in Japan, a lot of people have been asking me how I was able to communicate and the steps I took in order to study Japanese. I am nowhere near perfect in Japanese, but after studying the language for around 6 years now, I want to share some simple steps and resources that really helped me tackle the language. This video will be divided up into 4 parts consisting of reading and writing, grammar, immersion, and speaking. Without further ado, I hope you enjoyed the video.
Step 1. Reading and writing. When it comes to reading and writing, Japanese consists of 3 different writing systems: hiragana, katakana, and kanji. Hiragana and katakana are phonetic symbols that represent sounds, while kanji are Chinese characters that convey meaning as well as sounds. You can easily spot hiragana as it has a rounded shape and is typically used for function words, conjugations, and native Japanese words that aren't written in kanji. Katakana, on the other hand, has the same phonetic sounds as hiragana, but it is written with straight and sharp lines, typically used for loan words and foreign names. For example, the word McDonald's, which means McDonald's, would be written in katakana, as it's a word that comes from abroad. As you start to practice reading and writing, I recommend starting off with these 2 writing systems, as they serve as the basic alphabet for the Japanese language. Hiragana and katakana might seem like a lot at first, but it's pretty simple to learn once you've gotten the hang of it. One way I recommend learning hiragana and katakana is by practicing the writing charts over and over in a notebook or with a character writing sheet. When I started learning Japanese, I learned hiragana first before learning katakana, but I actually recommend learning them simultaneously. Because they both share the same phonetic sounds, you can try writing them side by side to memorize them both at the same time. A lot of beginner Japanese textbooks offer sections that are specific to hiragana and katakana practice, so I recommend utilizing them as well. Before I get into kanji, you may also be familiar with another writing system known as romaji. Romaji is a writing style which simply uses letters from the Roman alphabet. Using romaji can be helpful for learning basic vocabulary and phrases at first, but I personally recommend not solely using them when you're starting off, as they may lead to some challenges in pronunciation and intonation since it only uses the Roman alphabet. After you've learned hiragana and katakana, this is when I recommend to start learning kanji. In the beginning, kanji can seem quite overwhelming as there's around 2,000 to 3,000 commonly used characters, but I'd say it's definitely worth it to start learning some of the basic characters in the beginning, as you'll slowly get used to them over time. There are many ways to approach kanji practice, but here are some ways that have made the kanji learning practice a lot less stressful for me. One way that has been helpful for me is using kanji dictionaries. Dictionaries may not be everyone's cup of tea, but they personally have helped me a lot when it comes to preparing for Japanese exams. The one I currently use is called the Kanji Dictionary 2500 for foreigners learning Japanese. I really like the structure of this dictionary as it covers a lot of the kanji from JLPT levels N5 to N1. However, a more beginner-friendly kanji book I highly recommend is called Let's Explore Kanji, a picture tour of Japanese characters. This book is so incredibly helpful when starting your kanji learning journey, as it's super easy to read and study with, as it comes with a variety of cute pictures and funny phrases that help with memorization. Another way that's helped me has been using digital flashcards. There are many resources you can use for flashcards, but one that I highly recommend is the app MochiKanji Learn Japanese. MochiKanji is a kanji and vocab memorization app that utilizes the spaced repetition method in order to learn Japanese more quickly and efficiently. Spaced repetition is a learning technique that involves reviewing material at increasing intervals to improve long-term retention. Through this method, MochiKanji ensures that you're not only able to memorize words short-term, but in a way that helps them stick. This way, it can help you memorize up to 1,000 kanji and vocabulary in 1 month. The way the app works is that it utilizes spaced repetition method and its special algorithm to generate golden time, which is calculated based on your personal learning history. Through Golden Time, users get a reminder that prompts you to review kanji and vocab at the perfect time when your brain might forget the words. In MochiKanji, you can choose different sets based on your textbooks, your proficiency, and even the Japanese language proficiency exam, also known as JLPT. Upon opening the app, it asks you if you have any previous Japanese knowledge, and you can then choose from what textbooks you've been using to learn. I use a variety, but I'll choose Minna no Nihongo. It also asks you for your reason for studying Japanese, so it can focus its lessons based on your specific goals. From there, it leads you to several different flashcard sets to choose from, all organized based on level. MochiKanji offers 8,000 plus kanji and vocabulary terms, which are divided into several smaller sections and topics. The layout is super cute and simple to navigate, so I really recommend it if you're looking for an app that can help with learning kanji. I recently took the JLPT N3 Japanese exam, and MochiKanji was one of the most helpful resources I used in order to memorize the kanji and vocab that you can find on the test. The flashcards have a lot of different features such as writing, reading, listening, and sentence examples, so it's great if you're looking to memorize kanji in a variety of ways. Something that can be a bit challenging at first when it comes to kanji is stroke order, but within its lessons, MochiKanji offers tons of writing and stroke order practice from kanji N5 to N2. It also offers speaking practice about some common daily Japanese topics.
はじめまして。
There's also a feature called J Dictionary that allows you to search 10,000 words which you can save to review using the spaced repetition system. As I mentioned previously, when it comes to learning kanji, dictionaries have always been a big help to me, so I was super excited to find out that the app offers an online way for me to search, save, and find the meaning of words. The app is available for download on both Google Play and iOS, and there's also a website that utilizes the same main features. The download and website of MochiKanji will be linked down below in the description, so please make sure to check them out. Thank you so much to MochiKanji for sponsoring this video and helping me with my Japanese language journey. Step 2. Grammar. After you've developed a basic understanding of some of the writing systems, this is when I'd recommend diving into basic Japanese grammar and sentence structure. There are several ways to approach studying grammar, but what I personally utilize the most are textbooks. Though it is entirely possible to learn Japanese without using a textbook, they have been super beneficial to me as they provide structured explanations and ways to practice. Over my 6 years of learning Japanese, I've tried out a fair share of different textbooks, and here are the ones I recommend most for beginners. One of the most popular and well-known Japanese textbooks you may be familiar with is Genki. Genki, an integrated course in elementary Japanese, is a textbook that I personally started off with and is one that a lot of people use to start learning grammar as well. Genki would probably be my #1 recommendation for first-time learners, as compared to other textbooks, it is super friendly when it comes to self-studying. Genki also has a corresponding workbook you can buy, which has a lot of different comprehensive material related not only to beginner grammar and phrases, but also listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Another textbook/workbook I really recommend is Minna no Nihongo. Minna no Nihongo, which translates to Everyone's Japanese, is by far the textbook I used the most during my Japanese learning journey. Similarly to Genki, this textbook provides a lot of structure when it comes to grammar, listening, reading, etc., but it also provides a little bit more detailed content. From my experience, these books seem to be aligned with the Japanese language proficiency test, as I was able to take the N4 exam after finishing Minna no Nihongo Volume 2. That being said, I think this textbook can be a little challenging if you're choosing to self-study, as it's structured in a way that's meant for traditional studying with a teacher. Minna no Nihongo also offers a spin on its original textbooks called Kodomo no Nihongo, which means children's Japanese. Compared to the other two textbooks I previously mentioned, This one, I would say, is definitely the most beginner-friendly, as it's designed specifically for kids learning Japanese, with explanations tailored at a simple level of understanding. Even if you're not a kid, this textbook can be a really great start if you're looking for a simple and sweet introduction to the Japanese language. The last set of textbooks that I'd like to recommend would be the new Kanzen Master textbooks. These textbooks have been the ones that I've been using the most lately, and these books are specifically meant for studying towards the Japanese Language Proficiency Test, also known as the JLPT. These textbooks are less beginner-friendly as they are targeted directly towards exam prep, but I personally found them super beneficial when it comes to studying for these exams. If the JLPT is a test you plan on taking in the future, I definitely have to recommend these books as they're structured the exact way the exam is. Though textbooks have personally been super effective for me in the past, they can get quite pricey at times, and they may not be the best option for everyone. That being said, there are luckily tons of free online resources that can be just as good as textbooks when it comes to learning Japanese. One super popular resource is the website Japanese Pod 101. Similar to how a textbook is structured, this site can be a really helpful resource for those looking for a simple way to understand grammar and explanations. Japanese Pod 101 also has a YouTube channel, which actually really helped me a lot when I first started. Some other online resources I've heard people leave good reviews about include sites like Busu and Tofuku. All of the textbooks and online resources I mentioned will be linked in the description below, so please feel free to check them out. Step 3. Immersion. My next tip, and definitely my favorite one, is immersion. Immersion, in simple terms, is a language learning method that involves completely surrounding yourself with the language you're trying to learn. People sometimes think that immersion requires you to live in the country that you're learning the language of, but you'd be surprised to find out that there are tons of ways to practice immersion while at home. One of my favorite ways to do this is by regularly consuming Japanese media. This could be in a variety of different ways, for example, through watching anime, J-dramas, YouTube, listening to music, reading manga, playing video games, and even through learning about Japanese culture itself. Believe it or not, immersion is considered to be one of the best ways to learn Japanese, as it gives you a better representation of how Japanese is spoken in real-life situations compared to solely relying on textbooks. Not only is consuming Japanese media great for simple entertainment, but it can also serve as a fun way to significantly help your listening, pronunciation, and comprehension skills. When it comes to watching anime and Japanese dramas, I recommend trying to watch with Japanese subtitles, as it gets you used to reading and learning commonly used vocab. If you're interested in using anime as a tool to help you learn Japanese, one anime I would recommend would be Nichijou. Nichijou is actually my favorite anime of all time, and it's a really funny and lighthearted show that can be great for learning Japanese. Some others I would recommend would be Azumanga Daioh, Haikyuu, Kimi ni Todoke, and Snafu, but I highly suggest looking online for anime you might be interested in based on what genres you like. I also recommend trying out some Japanese kids shows such as Doraemon and Dino Girl Galgo, as they're what I initially used when I first started watching shows with only Japanese subtitles. Another way that's been super effective for me is reading Japanese manga. Compared to watching anime, reading manga in Japanese can seem pretty difficult, as it does take a while to get used to at first, but it can actually be really helpful as it introduces you to new kanji and sentence structures that are commonly used in writing. I'm currently reading a kids manga called Chokumimi to help me with my Japanese study, but I've heard that other mangas such as Azumanga Daioh and Yotsuba are great for beginners as well. If you're someone who's more into dramas and or reality TV, my biggest recommendations would be the drama Orange Days, as it depicts the college life of a group of college students exploring their transition into adulthood. With its realistic setting and touching storyline, I really recommend it if you're looking to learn Japanese that's naturally spoken in day-to-day situations. Another recommendation would be to watch variety/reality shows. In terms of variety shows, I'm currently watching one called Talk Queens, but there's a bunch of different ones you can find out there. Though I've only seen a little bit of it, I've heard that the reality series Terrace House is a super effective show for learning Japanese, as you're able to hear what real Japanese conversations look like. If you're someone who enjoys watching vlogs or YouTube videos, I highly recommend trying to find some Japanese YouTube channels to subscribe to. You can easily find channels centered around what kind of videos you like simply by searching for it in Japanese. For example, I'm someone who likes watching a lot of high school vlogs and get ready with me videos, so I would search something like Kokosei Vlog on YouTube to find vlogs in Japanese. If you need any recommendations for any channels to check out, I'll link all of my favorite channels in the description below. Step 4. Speaking. Next are my tips for speaking. Speaking can be difficult as you may not have many chances to practice with someone in real life, but there are still many ways that you can practice conversations. Most textbooks, including Genki and Minna no Nihongo, often come with CDs and include written conversations with each new topic. After reading them for the first time, I highly recommend listening to the audio and repeating them out loud, trying to pronounce the sentences just as you heard them. Though Japanese isn't solely based on pronunciation, repeating words exactly the way you hear them can really help when it comes to pitch accent. This method of listening and repeating is called shadowing, and it's actually something that my Japanese teacher introduced to me when I first started learning Japanese. One resource that I highly recommend for this is the NHK Easy News website. NHK is a popular news outlet in Japan that offers a variety of news local to Japan, but also talks about things occurring abroad. A really cool thing about NHK is that they offer beginner-level news articles and videos made specifically for people learning Japanese. To practice shadowing, I like to first listen to the audio and then after try following along with it, really trying to replicate the pitch pattern.
SNS の X についてのニュースです。フランスのパリ市は今月20日に X を使うのをやめる。
If you're looking for a way to really try and improve your Japanese pronunciation, this is a method that I definitely recommend. If you're additionally looking for a way to practice your speaking skills, I'd highly recommend utilizing resources such as Discord and HelloTalk, as they allow you to make voice rooms and directly practice with native speakers.
これはいいとこやね。やり直しの危機が。
いや、もうクリアした後やから。
あ、そうなんや。
That concludes all my tips when it comes to learning Japanese as a beginner. Again, I am no expert when it comes to the best way for learning Japanese, but everything I shared in this video were the steps that I personally took in order to get to the level that I'm at today. If you have any questions about any of the tips or resources I mentioned, please feel free to ask in the comments. I'll try my best to respond to the ones I can. Bye, and thanks for watching!